Welcome back, guys. You probably guessed it, we're making eggnog today. And not just any eggnog, we are making aged eggnog, a recipe from Alton Brown, one of the great culinary geniuses out there. So the first thing we're going to do is grate a whole bunch of nutmeg, freshly ground nutmeg. We want about a teaspoon. So we're doing this ahead of time. I know it's still early, we're still mid-November, but we want this to age, which is why we're getting started nice and early so it'll be ready for the Christmas season. All right, nutmeg is grated. Next thing we need is a big bowl and a whole lot of eggs. We need 12 egg yolks in this recipe. I'm gonna switch my bowls around here. So first thing we need to do is separate 12 eggs. So give it a crack, just pass that yolk side to side, and dump it in the other bowl. So I love Christmas cocktails. It's my favorite time of year for cocktails. There's so much variety. Sweet, creamy cocktails like eggnog. But there's also stiff sipping cocktails, boozy cocktails, refreshing light cocktails. There's so much variety. Check out that playlist because I've made a whole lot of Christmas cocktails in the past. So make sure you click that playlist and stick around because starting very soon, we're gonna have a whole lot of new awesome cocktails and concoctions for you guys. All right, back to it. So to our eggs now, to our egg yolks, we're gonna add that grated nutmeg. We also need a pound of sugar. That's approximately 2 cups, but by weight, a whole pound. And what we wanna do now is just whisk, 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 and get it all combined, which is really hard to do on the bar cart. So I'm gonna take this off camera and about 4 minutes by hand. Obviously, if you have an electric mixer, that would go a lot faster. This first part here is actually incredibly similar to my Advocat recipe. So click that link, check out the Advocat recipe. The only difference here is we're adding dairy to this. Advocat was just basically egg yolks, sugar, and booze. The eggnog recipe here has a lot of dairy. All right, so once the eggs are nice and pale, they're nice and stringy like that, we're good to go. In another bowl, now we're gonna combine our dairy and our booze, starting with milk. We got a pint, approximately 2 cups of milk. Recipe said whole milk. I have 2%. I don't think it's gonna make a big difference. Next is half and half. That's 10% milk fat for people who don't use the term half and half. Might be coffee cream, but 10% cream is what we want. Pint of that as well. And finally, 35%, that's heavy cream. That's what we call that here. 35% milk fat. So 3 kinds of dairy at various levels of milk fat. And my bowl is getting pretty full. Next, we want a pinch of salt, approximately a 1/4 teaspoon. I didn't really measure the salt, to be honest. A little bit of salt is good though. We'll bring out the flavors more. All right, now the booze. 3 kinds of booze. We're doing a cup of bourbon using Buffalo Trace. Your favorite bourbon. Well, don't use your favorite bourbon, but use a good bourbon. Yeah, don't put like expensive stuff in here, but something you'd still want to drink. Kingston rum, this is Jamaican rum, is going in next. Cup of that as well. Oh, look at that. I'm getting a little worried there. The bowl is almost full. And our last booze will be a French brandy. This is a Valcourt Napoleon brandy. So we want a cup of that as well. You could use a cognac here if you wanted to. There it goes, and just makes it in the bowl. Oh boy, I need some bigger bowls. All right, next thing I want to do is carefully get that off the bar cart, and we're gonna bring back our original bowl with the egg and sugar mixture, and we're gonna just little by little incorporate our dairy booze mixture. So I just ladled in about 2 cups there, and then I'm going to whisk away, add another 2 cups of our mixture, whisk, whisk, whisk. If there's any kind of sugar that wasn't fully dissolved at the bottom, you want to make sure to get that at this point. Make sure it's nicely incorporated, nicely dissolved, and just continue to mix that. And once again, my bowl is getting full. Get that off the bar cart. Get some bottles here. These are large 1 liter bottles, and I'm going to carefully pour my final mixture into those bottles. Look at that, looks amazing. All right, now this is aged eggnog. So what we want to do here is once it's bottled, we're going to put it in the fridge and we're going to let it sit, let it age for minimum 2 weeks and anywhere up to 1-2 months. Alton Brown says even a year should be fine. Of course, I'm going to slap on a sexy label. And does this look amazing? Wouldn't this be great to bring to a Christmas party? Oh yeah. What do you think? And here it is, our homemade pre-batched aged eggnog, Alton Brown's recipe. And as I mentioned earlier, this now has to age for minimum 2 weeks. So we're going to try it at the beginning of December, and we're going to try it again closer to Christmas and see if it gets better and better. But in the meantime, I just had to try it right now. It's been about a day, but I mean, yeah, so I'm not gonna have a huge taste, just a tiny little bit. I just wanna give myself a baseline of where it's at, and then we'll see how much better it gets over time. But I was tasting a little bit as I was making it too, and already it's pretty awesome. Wow. So right out the bat, I mean, it's everything you want in an eggnog. It's creamy, it's rich. That nutmeg flavor is on point. There's just the good amount of booze in there. It comes through, but it's not like too boozy. And yeah, everything just blends together. I mean, I don't know if I could really, I'm definitely picking up bourbon, but there's a bit of, that rum flavors there. Yeah, it kind of blends all together, but you do kind of pick up the 3 different spirits in there. That's already fantastic. I can't wait to try it once it's aged for a little bit. So as I mentioned, we will check in again in a couple weeks, and again closer to Christmas to see where it's at. In terms of quantity, so the batch we made, which was, as you can see, almost overflowing the bowl I had, when I filled it made just shy of 3 liters. However, since there was a lot of the whipped eggs and the cream and everything, there's a lot of air that was mixed in there. So afterwards, you'll see in the bottle, it kind of settled down. So I think the final yield was probably about 2.5 liters, enough to fill 2 of these big bottles, and I got about 1 of my smaller bottles. There it is. Hope you enjoyed that, and go ahead, make some now. We've still got a couple weeks before we get into the holiday season in December, so just enough time to make it, let it age in the fridge for a little bit. Cheers.